So here we are on the final video for the Assist Trophy Origin series. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate introduced a few new mechanics with these assist trophies. First, multiple can appear at once during a match, which surprisingly hasn't happened in the series before. Second, while they could be KO'd in previous titles, Ultimate is the first game that counts assist KOs towards player scores. Ultimate is also the first game where the number of assist trophies outnumbers the number of Pokeball Pokemon, with 59 assists and 55 Pokemon. Before we jump in, today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
Easy, everyone. Every dragon has a weak spot.
You tell him, Elhain, man. You got this, girl. I believe in you. Never mind. Raid Shadow Legends is a brand new RPG that is one of the most immersive experiences that you will ever find on a smartphone, with production quality rivaling the biggest PC and console games, and it's totally free. With an amazing storyline, awesome graphics, giant boss fights, PvP battles, and over 100 champions to collect, customize, and play as, this game has it all. Raid is having a special launch tournament right now, so go to the description and download Raid through my special link to receive 50,000 silver right off the bat. I mean, you're already starting ahead of the game just by clicking that link. And if you use my link, you'll also be entered into the launch tournament, where you can compete for crazy in-game prizes as well as physical prize packs, including figurines, power banks, t-shirts, and more. So download Raid Shadow Legends today on either your iOS or Android device. But now, let's talk about some assist trophies. First up is Akira, who joins the fight from the Virtua Fighter series, which is considered the first ever 3D fighting game. As the mascot of this series, this is Akira's second time being represented in Smash. In Smash 4, a Mii Brawler skin was available for purchase, released at the same time as Lucas, Roy, and Ryu. However, in Smash Ultimate, Akira was bumped up to Assist Trophy, where his personality can really shine. His appearance is based on the original Virtua Fighter, which was for arcade systems and the Sega Saturn and 32X. His animations and moves resemble the original game as well, so they're accordingly very clunky and choppy. Akira moves around the stage attacking players, occasionally blocking attacks, and he can even use his signature Tetsuzanko move. Alucard hails from the Castlevania series, joining Smash alongside Simon and Richter. Alucard is the human vampire son of Dracula, who first appeared in Castlevania 3 and has been a recurring character in the series ever since. His most well-known appearance is his role in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and it's for this reason that Sakurai actually considered Alucard as a Castlevania rep before settling on the pair of Belmonts. Alucard's true name is Adrian Fahrenheit Tepes, and long story short, his mother is burned at the stake for witchcraft, causing his father, Dracula, to swear revenge against the entire human race. Adrian believes this to be misguided and tries to warn his father, who rejects this idea and injures his son in the process. Adrian then takes on the name Alucard, which is Dracula backwards, to represent his opposition to his father. Alucard's abilities in Smash reflect his gameplay in Symphony of the Night. He wields the Krystal, an extremely powerful blade. He can use the power of Mist, which lets him travel through walls and avoid attacks, and he can use Soul of Bat, which is his bat transformation attack. He also has both of his jump kick and backdash attacks. The Arcade Bunny is the host of the Nintendo Badge Arcade. This was an app for the 3DS which let the player play a crane game to earn badges, which could then be used to decorate the home menu. Some of these badges could even serve as replacement icons for some of the 3DS's built-in software, such as the camera or music apps, and there was even compatibility with Swapdoodle. The badges were typically based off of Nintendo franchises, and new badges were added regularly. The game stopped being updated mid-2017, though it's still playable to this day. The Arcade Bunny's assist trophy summons a crane game, which will attempt to grab players and pull them to the top of the screen and into the blast zone. Anyone caught in the claw can mash out, and the claw itself has 3 tries to drop down and grab players before disappearing. If the claw KOs an opponent, it will also disappear. Black Knight is another Mii costume turned assist trophy. From the Fire Emblem series, Black Knight is the primary antagonist of Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, both games that Ike is from. The Black Knight is a mysterious knight whose identity is not known to anyone. The Black Knight kills Ike's father early in Path of Radiance, and at that moment, Ike is filled with a passion to defeat the Black Knight to avenge his father's death, which extends all the way into the sequel game when Ike finally does just that. The Black Knight as an assist trophy moves across the stage slowly, swinging his sword, Alendite, in huge arcs. He is incredibly powerful and very difficult to KO. The Mii costume for Mii Sword Fighter also makes a return in Ultimate as a purchasable item in the in-game shop. Bomberman is one of the newest third-party assist trophies to the Smash series, which is a bit disappointing to those who wanted him as a fighter. Bomberman is the main character of the Bomberman series, which first debuted on a series of home computers in July 1983 in Japan. This is a strategy game where the player must defeat enemies using bombs that explode in specific patterns. These games were very small-scale releases meant only to serve as a tech demo for Hudson Soft, and Bomberman's design was not at all what we are familiar with today. But due to its success, a Famicom version was developed and was released in December 1985 in Japan, and in 1987 for the International NES. The success of the console version would spawn the entire Bomberman series, and Bomberman himself has appeared in over 70 different games. But ironically, Bomberman's first appearance was not in his own game. In Hudson Soft's NES title, Lode Runner, Bombermen were portrayed as the enemy robots, and this is the first time that the design was ever used by the developer. When Bomberman was being made for the NES, they decided to repurpose the sprite by recoloring it and making it the player's character. This is why Bomberman is sometimes referred to as White Bomberman. In the end sequence of Bomberman, it's revealed that Bomberman becomes human and goes on to be the protagonist of Lode Runner. So weirdly, Bomberman is actually a prequel to Lode Runner. In Smash, Bomberman does exactly what you'd expect. He jumps around the stage, placing bombs that explode in their classic cross pattern. He can also drop remote bombs which will explode randomly rather than on a timer like his normal bombs. As a reference to his home game, Bomberman can even be KO'd by his own explosions. The Burrowing Snagret is an enemy from the Pikmin series, first debuting in the original Pikmin. Its design has stayed relatively similar, however in Pikmin 3 it did receive an update to make it a bit more detailed. Its attack in Smash and its attack in its home series are pretty much identical. It will pop up from underground, pause for a moment, and then peck at opponents. It will then dig back down and reappear somewhere else to repeat its attack. This happens several times before it finally disappears. Chef Kawasaki cooks up his competition in his Assist Trophy debut. From the Kirby series, his first appearance was in Kirby Superstar for the Super NES. He's a mini-boss who provides the cook ability upon defeat. He had only 2 attacks in his first appearance, throwing dishes and silverware from a distance and using his ladle to scoop enemies into a frying pan to cook them. His assist attacks reflect this original appearance, as these are both of the attacks he can use at any time. However, instead of a frying pan, Chef Kawasaki cooks opponents in a big pot, which spawns food items as well as launching the opponent away. This assist trophy is a repurposing of Kirby's final smash from Brawl, Cook Kirby, with of course additional attacks and altered item spawns. The award for most random assist trophy goes to Flies and Hand. These come from the Gnat Attack minigame in the Super NES game Mario Paint. This game is played with the Super NES mouse and was basically a point-and-click minigame where the player swats at flies. Likewise, this assist trophy is very straightforward. Flies will spawn alongside the fly swatter, and the hand will swat at flies randomly. If opponents are near the flies when they get swatted, they will also take damage and knockback. Alongside Ryu and Ken, Guile from the Street Fighter series joined Smash. Guile first debuted in Street Fighter II: The World Warrior and has been a recurring character in nearly every iteration of Street Fighter thereafter. He comes from the United States and is a major in the Air Force. His signature moves are the Flash Kick and Sonic Boom, and these are both reflected in Smash. However, the implementation is incredibly meta. There's a tactic in Street Fighter called down backing, which refers to the input of crouching while blocking, which is what Guile does. Holding down and back can ready both Flash Kick and Sonic Boom inputs, so the player can use whichever is necessary at a moment's notice. Basically, they can spam out Sonic Booms, and if the opponent tries to get in and jump over one, they can be hit by Flash Kick. This is a well-known tactic to use against low-level players, and it obviously receives a lot of hate. But I think it's pretty hilarious that it's included in Smash Ultimate. Cap'n comes from Animal Crossing, debuting in the very first of the series. In this game, he ferries players to the island if a Game Boy Advance is connected, singing, being sarcastic, and even flirting with female players. In Wild World, he shuttles players via a taxi, and in City Folk, he drives a bus to the player's city. In New Leaf, he again ferries players to the island. His bus appearance is what's reflected in his assist trophy, however. He will drive the bus across the stage, and if it comes into contact with the player, they will be forcibly boarded and driven towards the blast zone. The trapped player can mash out to attempt to get out, and if this happens, another player can be picked up. Cap'n will attempt this several times by teleporting back to the stage if he's unsuccessful, and then he will disappear. Claptraps first showed up in Donkey Kong Country, and they are one of the most common enemies from the Kremli crew. While Claptraps as an assist trophy didn't appear until Ultimate, they have appeared in every Smash game except for Smash 64 and Smash for Wii U, as they are stage hazards on the Congo Falls and Jungle Jape stages. Their attack as an assist trophy sees them latching onto opponents and biting constantly, dealing damage. It will then let go and then just sort of mosey around and look for another victim to chomp on. Another character that many had hoped would appear as a fighter, Knuckles, was revealed as an assist trophy for Smash Ultimate. His first appearance in the Sonic series was in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 as a kind of antagonist. Dr. Eggman tricked Knuckles to oppose Sonic and Tails and slow them down as they pursued Eggman to stop him. Knuckles then became playable in Sonic and Knuckles, and this was meant to be the second half of Sonic 3 initially, but because of time constraints, the two became separate games that could be merged using Sega's lock-on technology. Since this pair of games, Knuckles has become a main character in the series, becoming a trio with Sonic and Tails. In Ultimate, his attacks are based on several of the abilities found across the large library of Sonic games. First, he has a burrowing attack, which has been seen in several games like Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2, Sonic Battle, and Sonic Generations. Another recurring ability is the homing attack, which Knuckles was first able to use in Sonic Heroes. His final ability is just straight up punching with his abnormally sized hands, which has often been Knuckles' go-to attack. However, an actual combo that he uses in Ultimate is very close to a combo from Sonic the Fighters. Krystal fulfills our furry quota and comes from the Star Fox series. At times, she's been a member of Team Star Fox, and she's also Fox's love interest. Krystal was originally designed for a Nintendo 64 game by Rare called Dinosaur Planet. Nintendo requested that this game become a Star Fox game and be developed for the GameCube instead of the N64, so this title would soon become Star Fox Adventures. As a result, Rare reused the designs they came up with for Dinosaur Planet, and Krystal became a character in that game. Just like in Smash, she wields a staff, but loses it when she's captured by Andross, and Fox manages to find it and uses it as a weapon himself. As you can expect, her portrayal in Smash is based on Star Fox Adventures as she uses the staff in her attack. She deals freezing damage, which is based on Ice Blast, an upgrade for the staff available in Adventures. Next, we have the literal moon. If you tuned into the last episode, or you're just familiar with Majora's Mask, you'll recognize this as the moon that Skull Kid pulled down to destroy the city of Termina in that game. It's been in Smash before in the background of the Great Base stage, but it's always just been eye candy. Now it can be summoned, and when it is, the moon will crash down on the playfield and cause huge damage and knockback before exploding. Nikki is the host of SwapNote and SwapDoodle, Nintendo's messaging apps for the 3DS. She would give the players tips, teach them how the app worked, and even give them news. She's made other appearances in other games such as Art Academy and Super Mario Maker, and she currently exists in the Nintendo News section. Initially, she appeared as just a Mii, but then she was given an updated design that was in a 2D form. Her appearance in Smash is a 3D version of this new 2D design. She'll chill out in the bottom left corner like she does in her Origin series, and she'll draw several objects on screen which will impact the playfield. She can draw a bullet bill, which acts just like the item, a dragon, which will breathe fire and deal knockback, a ghost, which will paralyze opponents if they get hit, a flock of birds, which launches opponents, a pinwheel, which blows players around, and a smash ball, which is just a smash ball. The biggest surprise assist trophy is absolutely Rathalos, who comes from the Monster Hunter series. Rathalos is not only an assist trophy, but also a boss at the end of many characters' classic mode runs. Rathalos are a species of wyvern that can be hunted in the series. Rathalos debuted in the original Monster Hunter, and they're dubbed the King of the Skies. Their attacks from the home series are also well reflected in Smash. As a boss fight, he can glide in the background and rush to the foreground to hit fighters, roar loudly to stun them, dash forward and tackle, attack with their poisonous claws by both flying and landing, dealing poison damage, blast out fireballs in a variety of patterns, and spin around attacking with its tail. As an assist trophy, some of these attacks do not appear. Rathalos cannot fly in the background, nor can it deal poison damage despite using the same moves. On top of this, items that work in his boss fight, like Deku Nuts and Pitfalls, do not work on his assist trophy form. Rodin joins the Smash universe from the Bayonetta series. Rodin used to be a high-ranking angel in Paradiso, but after an attempt to take it over, he was cast away to Inferno, where he now hails as one of the highest-ranking demons. He harvests souls and fuses them into weapons, which is where Bayonetta receives her guns. He runs a bar called Gates of Hell, and the player can purchase weapons and upgrades from him. In Smash, he has similar moves to Bayonetta. He has a move similar to Wicked Weaves, however, while Bayonetta's version of the move summons Madama Butterfly's limbs, Rodin's version summons his own. He can also use his own form of Afterburner Kick. Just before he leaves the stage, he will toss a few items to the player who summoned him, a reference to his role as a shopkeeper. Shovel Knight's addition as an assist trophy marks the second time ever that an independent developer has had any of their properties represented in Smash, and the first time as an assist trophy. The first was Commander Video, who was represented as a normal trophy in Smash 4. Shovel Knight of course comes from the game Shovel Knight, a 2D side-scrolling platformer developed by Yacht Club Games. The game found massive success. After being successfully kickstarted and released on PC, Wii U, and 3DS, the game has since been ported to PlayStation 3, 4, Vita, Xbox One, Amazon Fire TV, and Nintendo Switch. They've also received 2 additional campaigns for the title, with a third on the way and a multiplayer fighting game in the works. Shovel Knight's moves in Smash are directly pulled from his abilities in his home game. He can dig up the ground, occasionally digging up items and hitting players with dirt. He can also bury opponents in the ground and uses his shovel drop attack to jump on top of opponents. One of the newest Nintendo IPs, Springman is the rep from the ARMS series. He's the mascot for the series and was one of the first characters revealed for the game. ARMS is a fighting game series made by Nintendo which features boxer-esque fighting, but with the quirk that the fighters have massively extendable arms, whether through natural means or through some kind of machinery. In Smash, Springman uses the Toaster Arm, which is one of his default arms in ARMS, and he has quite a wide range to aim punches at opposing players. He can also rush down opponents, attacking with a flurry of punches that end in one big hit. Springman is also the newest assist trophy in terms of his creation. His debut in June 2017 makes him the youngest of all assist trophies. And speaking of Nintendo IPs, the Squid Sisters also debut in Ultimate. Callie and Marie are from the Splatoon series and are a pair of pop idols who are also the hosts of Inkopolis News. Upon booting up the game, or when multiplayer content has cycled, they will announce which stages are available for multiplayer, as well as information on upcoming updates and Splatfests. Callie and Marie play a more integral part of Splatoon 2's campaign, with Marie being the player's guide in Octo Canyon, and Callie being kidnapped and serving as a boss. Throughout the Splatoon games, they can be seen singing, and so they've been given this function in Smash. Upon being summoned, a small stage will appear in the center of the fighting stage, and the two will perform a concert. The camera will slowly move inwards to focus on the sisters, and the blast zones move as well, very much like the sudden death mode. The sisters can sing either Calamari Incantation or Ink Me Up, and each has its own dance tied to the song. Sukapon is the main character of Joy Mech Fight, a fighting game for the Famicom. The game was actually released after the release of the Super Famicom, but this period was the time that developers really mastered the development for the Famicom, so Joy Mech Fight is considered one of the games that best handles the console's capabilities. Sukapon is a comedian robot developed by Dr. Little Eamon and Dr. Ivan Walnuts, who created all sorts of robots together. However, one day Dr. Walnuts took military robots and appeared on TV declaring his intention to take over the world. Dr. Eamon summons Sukapon to his lab, where he outfits him into a military robot to stop Dr. Walnuts. Sukapon was planned to be an item in Melee, but was cut for unspecified reasons. In Ultimate, he made his debut, and he moves around the stage primarily spinning his detached limbs to hit players. He can attack by throwing a copy of his head at opponents, grabbing opponents and throwing them backwards, or rolling his body forward and pinballing around players and objects. As he's from a fighting game, Sukapon can also block attacks. Tiki joins as an assist trophy from the Fire Emblem series, who first debuted in Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon, and the Blade of Light, all the way back on the Famicom in 1990. Tiki is a Maneki, or a Dragonkin. These are a species of dragons who have learned to take the form of humans in order to avoid being hunted and to conserve their strength. Tiki first appeared as a young child, but throughout her various appearances in many Fire Emblem games, she's grown into an adult. But it's kind of one of those 5,000-year-old 20-something looking deals, so I don't know how old she really is. Being a Maneki, she of course has a dragon form, and this is her method of attack both in Fire Emblem and in Smash. She breathes multiple streams of fire around the playfield to attack opponents. Thwomp is one of the most recognizable enemies from the Mario series, which makes it pretty surprising that it took 3 games for him to be an assist trophy. The first ever appearance of Thwomps was in Super Mario Bros. 3 for the NES, but they've been in basically every Mario game since. They float in the air, and when a player comes into their line of sight, they will attempt to crush them by falling on them. Thwomp has been in Smash since Melee by being one of Kirby's stone transformations, with Melee and Brawl having the Mario 64 style, and Smash 4 and Ultimate having the modern style. Vince comes from everybody's favorite series, the Art Academy series. He's the host of the series and guides the player through the game's lessons to teach them how to paint. When summoned in Smash, Vince will paint over opposing players all kinds of different paintings, all of which follow the players and deal a bit of constant damage while they are covered. He can draw statues, tomatoes, seashells, cats, and birds. Dr. Wily appears in his Wily Capsule as an assist trophy. Dr. Wily is the primary antagonist of the classic Mega Man games. In Mega Man 1, he reprogrammed all of the robot masters that Dr. Light made in an attempt to take over the world, and it was up to Mega Man to defeat the robot masters and ultimately defeat Dr. Wily. In subsequent games, Dr. Wily is always using robots in further attempts to take over the world, and every time he fails. Since Mega Man 4, Dr. Wily's boss fight has always used his Wily Capsule, and in Smash it uses his Mega Man 7 iteration. The capsule from this game is infamous for being one of the most difficult, as Dr. Wily's attacks deal massive damage while Mega Man's do very little. The elemental orbs he uses to attack are put directly into Smash. He will teleport to a random spot on the stage and launch out 4 elemental beams that are either fire, electricity, or ice, and they will lock on and hit players. He can also fire electric orbs at the ground, which will travel along the ground of the stage. If the Wily Capsule is destroyed, Wily will fall out and hit the ground on his knees, begging for forgiveness, which is a long-standing joke in the Mega Man series at the end of every Wily boss fight. Yuri Kozukata is a character in the Fatal Frame series and the main protagonist of the 5th installment, Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water. In a car accident that killed her whole family, she developed a sixth sense which allows her to see ghosts, and she uses this ability to help other characters solve the strange events happening all around Mount Hikami. She takes pictures of ghosts with her camera obscura. In Smash, she uses the camera obscura to take photos of the other players. This will then stun the players and continually damage them for a decent amount of time, even after she's left the field of play. And last but not least is Zero, one of the protagonists from the Mega Man X series and who eventually got his own series, Mega Man Zero. Zero was created by Dr. Wily to destroy the classic Mega Man, but he was far too violent and unstable, causing Wily to seal him away in a capsule. 100 years later, a group of Maverick hunters released Zero after they found Wily's lab, and Zero defeated them. The then leader of the hunters, Sigma, fought Zero, and though Zero lost, he was freed from his instability and became a Maverick hunter himself alongside Mega Man X. A bunch of other stuff happens, but that's basically the gist of where he comes from. Many of Zero's moves in Ultimate come straight from the Mega Man X series. His triple slash attack comes from Mega Man X4 and has become a staple since that game. Ryunjin is one of Zero's special abilities obtained by defeating Magma Dragoon. This move is also well known for being in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom and Marvel vs. Capcom. Kuenzan is obtained after defeating Split Mushroom and is an aerial somersault attack. Lastly is Genmu Zero, which is another move from Mega Man X5 and is also in Marvel vs. Capcom. And that does it for all of the assist trophies in Ultimate, and that completes every single new assist trophy that we have had up to this point. I'm not holding my breath for DLC assist trophies, but I'm also not completely writing it off either. So I'd love to know what your favorite assist trophy was from both Ultimate and overall. In Ultimate, there are just so many cool ones. I think I have to pick Shovel Knight just because I think it's so amazing that an indie rep got into Smash in a really significant way. And of course it makes sense that if any indie rep is going to be in Smash, it has to be Shovel Knight. I mean, he is just so iconic and they have such a good relationship with Nintendo, so I'm honestly not surprised. But I'd love to know what your favorite assist trophy was down in the comments below. If you guys are new, be sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed the video at all, be sure to hit the like button. I will see you guys next time. Peace out, and I hope you have an awesome day.